Hey everyone, welcome back to another podcast with TWT. Today's podcast is actually going to be about Matt and Crystal. So you guys have been asking about this for a fair while now. There's a lot of people that sort of came when she was already dating Christian and they were like, she used to date Matt and Holly used to date Christian. What a mess, right? So I just thought to start off, we might just go back throughout back to the start. So I have gone on the YouTube Mama Drama page just because I can't remember the timeline exactly. Like, I remember everything happening, but some things I'd forgotten. And so I went back on there, just sort of jogged my memory, and I thought it might be worth going through some of the comments and then just, elaborating on some of the stuff that was on there. So if you haven't heard of it, YouTube Mama Drama is what the page is. So you can type in YTMD and then put in like Crystal or Brittany or any of those, and it actually comes up with threads like about stuff that they've done, because a lot of them obviously were train wrecks, and every time something like some gossip came up, they would talk about it on this Tapper Talk. I think it's Tapper Talk. I don't know. But anyway, so I went on there the other day, just sort of jogged my memory, and there was things that I had forgotten as well. So I thought we'll just go through the comments from back. Like, this is 2015 is where this first sort of starts. But basically, they had met, I think she was she'd just gotten out of basic training. She went to basic training. I think that was as far as she really got. And then she was like with Matt, and then they sort of had their children back to back as like Band-Aid babies is what I remember. But so Crystal, at some point, she was actually a cam girl as well before this. And I believe it was Matt that outed her for this. So this is how bad their relationship was. Like, they just did the most god-awful things to each other. It was disgraceful. Now, I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but there used to be a sex confession Saturday, and they had a group of Instagram mums that would, you'd have to follow each of them, and they would post people's sex confessions up on their page. And then, you go around and you'd read each of these, and you had to follow all of them. So you had to be following all of them to be able to read these sex confessions. And a lot of the time, there were people, they had to try and encourage people somehow to, have the, to send in their confession. So they would put their own confessions on there as well. And I've said it before, I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but, Crystal on that sex confession, she was like, I told Matt that I don't sleep with people that I'm not dating, and he asked me if I wanted to be his girlfriend mid-blowjob. And she thought this was great. And I kind of feel like from day one, Crystal has always just chose dirtbags. Like, that to me would be a red flag if he was like, oh, would you be my girlfriend? Like, mid-blowjob, what the... Okay, but this is the kind of relationship that they had. And I'm not sure how I know that Crystal at some point was camming, and Matt had exploited those pictures. Like, he'd put those pictures out there, exposed them to one of her exposing pages or update pages. I can't remember, but that's the kind of relationship they had. They would just drop dirt on each other all the time. It was so bad. So anyway, let's go get onto this forum, and we'll go through some of the things that were said. So one of the comments here is they were arguing about him flirting with other girls. This was a while ago. I didn't know that there was a website until today. So she's had an exposing page for the longest time. There was the Jung Morris page. She actually ran her own exposing page at one point. Very weird. But I think it was more to expose Matt so that she could kind of have it biased for herself, if that makes sense. People thought that she ran Jung Morris, but she did not, because I had conversations with both of them at the same time. It was just not possible. But the Pretty and Pearly Pink, I am almost positive that was ran by her. So basically, this person's like, they're always cheating on each other, blasting all over social media when one or the other gets caught. Then they make up and they act like nothing happens. Who knows why they're getting married? They won't last. So they were engaged. They were supposed to be getting married. You'll actually hear in the story later on, he sells the engagement ring to buy Christmas presents for his new girlfriend and the kids. And then they get back together after this. It's fucking wild. So it says here, another person says, she constantly plays the victim. I never knew she was a cheating type. Also explains a lot. I always wonder why she never left him, because she's just as bad. Okay. So the two of them were shocking at cheating on each other. They were always flirting with other people. She would always catch him cheating, but she would, exploit him and never, ever, took any sort of ownership for the things that she did herself. And, you know, as someone that used to be friends with Crystal, and I would listen to a lot of things she'd say, I feel so bad for her. And then later on, you know, she'd tell me a part of a story, and then later on when it actually came out, it was just absolutely fabricated to make her sound better. So she's very good at playing the victim, and everything she says, just take it with a grain of salt, because a lot of the time it's bullshit. I'll tell you that now. I know that personally. Like, there was a point where, like, a picture came out once where she's literally, like, it's a dick pic of Matt. And, like, we played a fun little game. Like, we had a game on the page. Back before people used to get deleted all the time, we actually had, like, a competition where you could draw, like, a hat and a dress on Matt's penis. And we were posting it, like, you could, I don't know, like, we were dressing it up so it looked like, you know, someone with, like, a sombrero and, like, a Mexican beard, or it was, like, a woman in a bikini. I don't know. But and it actually had Crystal asleep in the background of this dick pic. Can you imagine? Could you imagine being a woman and getting a dick pic and his missus is asleep next to them? Like, you'd have to be a sick bitch to actually enjoy that. Like, you'd just be like, oh my God, what a fucking douchebag. Oh my God, it's so bad. So we come across on here, this is one of the first breakups that they're talking about in this post. So basically, she's on there ranting about hate pages and all the rest. He's gone on there and said, well, I'm officially single. Like, this is on his Facebook. He says, I'm officially single. And then she posts a status that says, people who use the F word towards their kids are pieces of shit. And then the comment, she says, this status was actually towards the father of my child who swore at our 7-month-old, saying, you are the most fucking miserable fucking child on the planet. But okay, have a nice night. So that this person's like, I don't know if that's why they broke up. Either way, I give it a week before they're back together, because this shit happened all the time. Like, Crystal would delete all the pictures of Matt on her Instagram, and people would be like, what's going on, you know? And there would be, he's out of the bio, because this is how they warn each other. Like, you give me the shits, I'm going to take you out of my bio. It means business, all right? They would break up all the time. I don't even know why. Like, you would think you'd at least wait a week before you make it Facebook official, because you look like a fucking knob. But anyway, he puts this screenshot up, he puts a status up saying, well, I'm officially single. And this person's like, it has 605 comments on it. Now, he would use this to gain sympathy from really stupid fucking women that followed him. Like, I remember seeing ones where he's like, you know, I just tried to give her the best. I paid for everything for her. And it would be Matt crying, you know, like, it was cringy enough when Crystal posts herself crying all the time, but when a guy does it, it's just like, I'd hate to be sexist, but fucking pull yourself together, man. Like, it was just, you could tell he was doing it to get laid. Like, he didn't give a fuck about Crystal. You know, I don't have my kids and I miss her so badly. And he'd be crying, and there's all these women on there like, it's okay. Like, you know, she just doesn't appreciate you. Oh, man. It was like he would plan a breakup so he could go and fuck a heap of women, and then they get back together. It was just absolutely stupid. But every time they would break up, he would take her phone off her. He'd like ring up and he'd disconnect it, so she only had the Wi-Fi and she couldn't even message someone. Like, he would literally trap her there. Like, you can't have the car, move out then if you don't want to be with me. It was basically like, you're going to be here, I'm going to cheat on you, and if you don't fucking like it, you can leave, and you can, you know, you don't get your phone, you don't get your kids. Basically make it so that she had nothing to care for her children. And I've said this before, I don't fucking agree with that, because if you're in a relationship with someone and you've got 3 kids with someone and one of them is staying home, like, I know Crystal's a lazy bitch. She doesn't like to work. I get that, but she had 3 young kids. She should be allowed to be at home, look after the children. You know, I know it's a ridiculous thing saying, well, you know, she should have got paid for looking after their kids. That's the whole reason why they're not paying someone, is because the mum's staying at home. But it's not fair that he can go out and, like, work on his career and build a business, and then she gets nothing from that. Like, I feel like that was a team effort. It's the same thing as, like, with Juliana, you know, when she's working and, like, Bred's not allowed to fucking, he doesn't get a pot to piss in. Like, he has to ask her for everything. Like, if he, you know, he went and bought Wendy's today, that's on my card. Probably have to bleep that out, because I'm not sure if you can say the C word on YouTube. Oops. But, you know, I think that's the words that she used anyway, so no lies. But, she's like, he stole from me. And this is kind of like with Matt and Crystal. Like, he would disconnect her phone and, until the power was restored to him, he would take everything away from her. And then she'd go back because what other choice did she have? Crystal, she didn't like living with a mum. She didn't want to have to go and work. So, that's just where it always ended up being. And here's just another example of, like, stupid followers. Like, a lot of the times, these people that get Insta famous, their followers are just absolutely brain dead. Like, there is this girl here, she's like, this is someone on the YouTube Mama Drama page. She's like, he's posted, like, 5 pics like that, and the comments are saying, get her back, you can do it, propose to her again. What the fuck? Are these the same nitwits that are, like, all over Juliana's page, like, go keto, no more bread. And then they're like, yeah, get married again, renew your vows, have another baby. What? Ugh. These people. And then they're like, it's sad these kids were dragged into the mess. I'm sure if they break up for good, they repeat the same cycle with new partners. And they have. So shout out to Lauren XO because you nailed it. And this is like back in 2015. So it's been 6 years. And they're still in these messy-ass relationships. But at least Holly and Matt, like, Holly blasted her shit once. And with the exception that she blasted Matt's crap because, before that, they didn't do that sort of shit. But it was Crystal was helping her, and Crystal's like, make a GoFundMe. Raise some money. Because Crystal's like, oh my God, a disaster. You got cheated on. Cha-ching. Let's make some money. Like, she just sees the dollar signs. And that's what she did with Holly. She got Holly to make that GoFundMe. And I think that's when a lot of people, like, sort of got offside with Holly because they were like, we made a GoFundMe and she's out drinking while her baby's, dying or whatever. Regardless, like, I don't think anyone can judge what you would do in that situation. I don't really think it's anyone's business. I probably wouldn't do that, but that's not my business. I've never been in that situation, so I can't really talk about that. And then, and this breakup, when it was announced, that was November 17th. And then there is another post here, and it's on the 25th, and it's like, they're already back together again. That didn't take long. So we made it 8 days. 8 days, almost a week, and they're back together. So this is how it goes. It's like up, down, up, down, up, down. And then, like, November the 29th, someone uploaded a screenshot saying, like, I hope this is true about the new guy. Matt's such a scumbag using his breakup as a way to get sympathy from girls. Can't see how he's playing victim. He's also the one who cheated. He's not sad. He's loving all the attention and messages. And then, yeah, like, it's just weird. Like, they would get back together, they'd break up. Like, it was within, a couple of days or whatever. Okay, and then we fast forward here to Wednesday, December the 2nd. And someone's like, 2 weeks later, she's already talking about how she got a new man in her life around her kids, and she's saying she has a Jess happy ending. So, like, her obsession with Jess fam has gone back since forever. She's like the try-hard version of her. Like, Jess wants to be her, but just can't quite cut it. We see her even now. She's always posting about her. Like, they met up when they went to Florida, although there wasn't much, like, she plastered it all over her Instagram about meeting up with Jess. And Jess, I think, put in a story for like 5 seconds. So I feel like Jess, they may be friends, but I feel like Jess knows what sort of damage that Crystal could do to her reputation just because of the way, and I'm not talking like OnlyFans stuff, I'm talking about her in general as a person. Like, if you have watched the last couple of days, this bitch is like so highly strung. She just pulls drama out of her ass. Like, just makes a mess. Like, we go on there and we'll see something she's done and we might make a comment and be like, oh my God, she's nuts, And then she's like obsessing over it. Like, the other day she put a picture of her butt and then a comparison picture of her butt. Like, what married woman does this shit? And was like, oh my God, like, I had to work out because in the first picture, a guy made a comment saying I was shaped like an AirPod. She actually did look like an AirPod because she had like these white pants on. It was a fucking funny comparison. Like, it made me laugh out loud. But, she was obsessing over it so badly that she had to do a comparison picture like 2 weeks later. It's just insane. Now, I don't know a lot about Jess fam. Like, I've watched her and I think she seems like kind of sweet. I don't know her backstory, but it's funny here because it seems like she's not as popular as I always thought she was. Like, I've never really seen her do anything badly, but I haven't followed her at all. Actually, I've never actually followed her. The only thing that I've kept up with knowing about her is things that have been sent to me on the page. But someone actually wrote here, like, what the fuck is a Jess fam happy ending? Moving from deadbeat to deadbeat and unable to keep your legs closed. And then someone replied, nailed it. And just based on a couple of the comments on my page, I feel like she's not loved by all, if you know what I mean. But anyway, enough with Jess fam. With the new guy that they're talking about that Crystal was with was actually Timmy. So now, she knew Timmy, they both knew Timmy before all of this happened, so I'm not sure how they started chatting or whatever. They've obviously started texting and then they've hooked up. But, like, I remember this happening, and I remember, you know, Matt and Crystal had broken up, and, like, this is within, like, a few weeks. So it seems to me, like, how do you, I mean, I don't know, but, like, for me, like, to be with my partner, break up, get back together, break up, and then, like, within a week and a half, you have, like, another guy at your house, around your kids, and you're taking pictures of you naked in the bed together for Instagram. I feel like that's very fast movement if this wasn't already happening beforehand. So I suspect she probably was messaging Timmy before, but I bet you that Crystal's never going to admit that to anyone. But anyway, this is what I recall from the situation. I just remember looking at Instagram one day, and then all of a sudden there is this picture of Crystal, and I remember looking at it thinking, my God, who puts these pictures on Instagram? Because it's her and him, and they're entangled in the sheets together, and there's, like, a picture, and I think they didn't have clothes on in the thing, but you can't see anything. Like, it's covered. Like, it's as tasteful as it could be for a family account on Instagram. I don't know how to explain it. And I was like, fuck, that don't look like Matt, because I was like, you see her and Matt together. And then I was like, oh my God. And she was like, you know, this is fate and all this stuff, and talking about this, like, happy ending. And people were like, what the hell? But this Timmy guy, he was actually married, like, they'd recently separated, but he was married to a girl that Crystal was friends with. They claimed, that girl, she claimed that they had been, like, best friends, but Crystal was like, we weren't best friends. Like, she just took the pictures for my maternity shoot. So they knew each other before. So, you know, they'd had interactions with them as a couple, which I feel like Matt felt a bit betrayed by that, and obviously the other girl felt pretty betrayed because she was no longer speaking to Crystal. Like, she was pissed about the whole situation. Someone here says, Crystal did move on fast, but I really think Matt is twisting and manipulating the situation to make himself seem completely innocent. She posted a video on her Facebook with pictures of herself crying with marks on her neck and screenshots where Mark. Did I say Mark before as well? I don't know. But where Matt is bitching about not having sex shortly after Trey was born, talking about going on a date and other stuff. He's definitely not innocent. Not that I think Crystal is 100% innocent either. So I'll just stop it there because this is true. There were screenshots that came out, and this is how much of a prick he was. He wrote in there saying, you know, you never want to have sex with me. And she was like, I just had our child 2 weeks ago. And, like, you know, you're not supposed to. Like, you're supposed to wait 6 weeks. A lot of people don't, but, you know, they ask you to do that just because, you know, it just lessens the chance of, like, infections or something going wrong. And a lot of women don't really feel like having sex 2 weeks after they've just had a baby come out of their hoo-ha, okay? Because it's probably not that comfortable. But it just depends on, like, your birthing and if you're comfortable with that. I don't know. I've only ever had cesareans, but I've heard it can be quite painful. So, like, I cannot believe he wrote that to her. But she said, you know, this has just happened. And he said, you know, well, like, I'm a bit broken or whatever. I can't remember what she wrote, but he's like, oh, are your hands broken too? What? He said that. He literally wrote back to her when she said she can't use her lady bits. He was like, are your hands broken too? Oh my God. Oh, like, I don't know how anyone could go back at that point, but she did. But anyway, we'll move on from that. So he's an absolute dick. You know, she always did post these pictures. Like, I remember at this same time, she had posted, like, a video. I will try and find the video, actually. If I can find the video, I'll insert it here. But basically, in the video, she was like, you know, she's like recording on the sly, and she's like, you just told me to kill myself. Do you think I should kill myself? Or something like that. Let me find the video and listen to it here.
I'm not helping you do a fucking thing. Ever. No. Walk to Amanda's.
What am I supposed to do?
I don't care.
Why can't you just plug the internet back in?
Why can't you just get the fuck away from me? Gotta be in your bed.
You really want me to kill myself? Like that's what you want for a kid?
If you do that to them, then that's what you want?
You said just go do the world a favor and go kill yourself.
Probably shouldn't kill yourself, but don't ever fucking talk to me again. Like...
Can you please plug it in so I can call somebody?
Write her a fucking letter.
Now, just before I go any further, I did want to say a quick thank you to those of you that sent me through the videos off that Morris Manual page, the old page, because I would be lost without you guys. Like, I just put a post up on the page, and within minutes I had you guys send through the video. I'm so thankful to have people like that on the page. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to explain it like I am right now. And also, I just want to say, in regards to Matt, in no way am I saying that Matt is not an absolute douchebag. Like, the things that he did in this video, he's a douchebag. But I just want to also point out some of the Crystal things. So, for starters, Crystal is not innocent in this situation. And this is where I say, she does play the victim very well. This is Crystal's truth of what she's saying is happening. What I find is, like, I absolutely, and I've said this before, like when Courtney has done the same thing when she was recording her ex, I hate when people do this. I hate when people record conversations or things that are happening and they're the ones that are in control of this because the other person doesn't know they're being recorded. And I can guarantee you, like, we don't know what led up to this point for them to be arguing like that. And nothing justifies Matt speaking to her in this way. But you can tell just by listening to this video, Crystal's obviously sobbing. She's quite upset. The fact their children, like, you can hear their children in the background, that's fucking disgusting. They should not have to witness this kind of shit. I cannot even imagine what those 3 kids went through in the time that they are with Matt and Crystal. Back then, don't know about now, but back then I always thought Crystal was an amazing mum. She was always like, everything was about her kids, so... Now I don't know about that. Everything's kind of more about money than the children. But what annoyed me listening to this video, and I thought even when I was friends with Crystal, I thought it was dodgy as fuck. She's in this video and she's saying stuff like, can you plug the internet back in? Do you really want me to go kill myself? Because she's recording. He said these things prior and she's recording it. And she wants people to hear it, like she wants people to hear what he said. So here she is, she's sitting there trying to provoke him to repeat what he said so everyone can see what an ass he is. Like, she's literally setting him up in this recording. It's disgusting. She says, can you just plug the internet back in? Because he used to always disconnect the internet so he could control her. And that's just a sick thing to do, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, they're a team. It doesn't matter if you pay the bills. You can pay the bills because you can go to work because someone is there looking after your children. It could have easily been the other way where Matt had to stay at home and look after the children and Crystal went out and worked. Either way, they both deserve, like, half-half. It's a team, okay? But it's just the fact that she's saying, can you plug the internet back in? Do you really want me to kill myself? And she repeats what he said back. She's like, you just told me this, okay? Because she wants her audience to hear how bad and how awful he is. Now, we don't know. This is just the little snippet that Crystal's decided is the best thing to sell her side of the story. So I kind of hate this because he didn't know he was being recorded, and that is toxic behavior. Like, it's just really toxic. It's disgusting. The last thing I would do in the middle of an argument is like, oh, I better record this because I want to show my Instagram followers that I'm the good guy and he's the bad guy. So that is just absolutely gross. And what's funny is that post that we were just discussing, like that YouTube Mama Drama user, they actually wrote in there, either way, I feel bad for those babies. They're so young and don't understand why their lives are being disrupted. But if their relationship really was that bad, it's better they permanently end things. But I think in a few months they'll be back together and announcing a pregnancy. Now, I'm just going to share with you another couple of videos that Crystal uploaded onto her Instagram. So these are 2 more where she is obviously recording him on the sly. So have a listen to the way that Matt speaks to her.
Not one fucking thing that I own belongs to you. Not fucking one.
Okay.
Not $1, not one fucking anything.
Alright. What are you doing?
Crystal rode the Matt train as long as she could to see if she could get married and then take half of everything he has. This is a...
My God. I mean, he's probably not wrong with, like, the married thing with, like, her statement that she came out with the other day, like, find a man, marry him, and then you get half his shit, you know. But this one is pretty disgusting. Have a listen to what he says to her in this video.
You have, like, priorities.
I didn't fucking lie when I said I fucked somebody the other day. And you know what? I've been cheating on you our whole relationship.
Okay, bye.
Like, at least fucking 12 times.
Okay,
you have
bye.
no other fucking idea. Because you're stupid.
Because I'm stupid?
Man, I just...
Ouch. So basically what he's saying is he's a fucking douchebag. But could you imagine, like, I just can't imagine being in a relationship like that and then staying. But the thing is, like, it's not like he has just become this douche. He was this douche the whole time and she kept having children with him. But again, you know, like, this is her recording things that he's saying. We have no idea what Crystal used to say to Matt as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like when they broke up and she started seeing Timmy, like, I feel like she might have been chatting to Timmy for a while before she was actually with Timmy. So it's kind of like, you know, they're both just as gross as each other. It's just that Matt didn't blast Crystal's shit everywhere. Like, I'm sure that he could have sat there and took some recordings of the things that Crystal said as well. I mean, he did blast a lot of her things, obviously, but like, I feel like if he was recording the things that she was saying, there'd be some pretty incriminating things there as well. So anyway, let's go back to where she's obviously posted about her and Timmy in the bed. People on here are saying, you know, obviously she's posted it for drama. Why else would you post it? You know what I mean? You got a relationship, it's that new, and you're going to post it and be like, oh, my happy ever after. Like, please. You got 3 kids with this other guy, and then all of a sudden you're going to happily ever after with some dude that you both know and we're friends with him and his partner. So it doesn't really make much sense. But then, in response to that, someone he has here, the 18-year-old Matt is supposedly dating now. Now, we all know that is Ange, and Ange, she follows the page, the TWT page. She's pretty open with, like, everything that happened back then. I think her and Crystal still talk even. I'm not sure. I don't think she talks about it anymore. I think that breakup was it was just the end of it, you know what I mean? But they did break up once and they got back together, but we'll get to that anyway. So people are like, you know, she's young, naive, she's easy to control, and you can see right through him and his motives because they think, you know, well, he's going to find someone young because he can kind of, you know, control them and whatever. And then someone's like, oh my God, Matt and his girlfriend has got matching tattoos. And I remember at the time we were like, what the fuck, dude? Because this is Saturday, December 19th. So, you know, she's announced like 2 weeks earlier that she's broken, like she's now with Timmy. And then he's just announced his new girlfriend, and he announced the new girlfriend on the 14th. And on the 19th, they got matching tattoos. So, he got the king sign, like, and she got the queen, and it was like on their middle fingers, I think. And everyone was like, oh my God. But like, they still have the tattoos, and I don't think, like, I think Ange in the past has said that she's not going to get rid of hers. Like, obviously it's like, you know, a storyline to a past, like a wild one. But, you know, like, it was more of a thing when Matt and Crystal got back together again, where people were like, oh my God, like, it's weird that he still has that tattoo. Like, you'd think if you broke up, you had this breakup, went and seen other people, and there was like all this drama in between, that you wouldn't want to still see that. But he kept the tattoo anyway. Then on Christmas Day, Matt posts this picture of like all the presents under the tree, and like his girlfriend's like moved in with him at this point, or she's staying with him there. Basically, they're like playing house together. They've got the kids for Christmas. And he was like, you know, thank God they let me return the ring, and like said how many presents that you can buy for, you know, the price of an engagement ring. So he said that they let him return it, but we know he hocked it because they're not going to let you return it after wearing it for a year. That's just never going to happen. Now, during all of this time, these two are making like stabs at each other on Facebook and Instagram. And, you know, Matt makes all these posts and people are like, you know, it seems like everything that he posts. Like someone here writes, I feel like he disses Crystal in all of his posts now, no matter what they're about. So then we fast forward to January the 8th and someone posts on here saying, laugh my ass out, laugh my ass off. So Morris Manuel on Instagram has screenshots of Crystal recently sending sexy pics to Matt, and Timmy posted on Facebook about Crystal cheating on him. Oh my God, how do you have 3 children back to back? I have 3 children back to back and I don't have time for this fucking shit, like drama in my life. Like I would not have time for this. It's great for me to watch and it's fun and entertaining to watch, but I could never go through it. So basically what happened was Matt and Crystal are now like messaging each other this whole time on the sly, like making digs at each other, but they're messaging each other the whole time on the sly. And Matt's like encouraging Crystal to send dirty pictures. So then Crystal starts sending all these dirty pictures to Matt. And then during one of their swap overs for like picking the kids up or something like that, Crystal has sex with Matt. What? Are you fucking kidding me? So Crystal sleeps with Matt, and then basically Matt holds this over Crystal's head for the entire time. Like she's going to tell Timmy because like she's acting like she has this great life with Timmy. And and Angela, like she doesn't know yet. Anyway, so it comes out and then it's confirmed that they slept together during one of the like handovers or whatever. And everyone's like, oh my God, we knew they'd get back together or whatever. But Tim breaks up with Crystal because she's cheated on him, and Angela actually takes Matt back. So pretty much I think the way I see it, it was like a controlling thing for Matt. Like he was just trying to show, well, I can still get her, and prove that he could still get her and he could still sleep with her. And it was like a, fuck you, Timmy kind of thing. Because I feel like there was a bit of animosity between them. And also because it was like, showing Instagram, well, if I was really that bad, why was she trying to get me back if I was so bad? And so I feel like that's why he slept with her, just to prove a point to everyone. Because, you've got Crystal on, she's on Instagram and she's like, Timmy's so lovely and she's making him out to be like her happily ever after, but she just cheated on him. And so Matt then decided he could use this as a manipulation tactic. And the thing is as well, Angela, she's young, so I think he felt like he could probably win her back. And I know that they did break up for a little while, it was a couple of days or something, because Angela was on the Instagram pages and saying they weren't together anymore. But then she did take him back later on and she was saying, everyone deserves a second chance or whatever. But I'm going to leave this podcast right here. I'm going to actually make a part 2, maybe even a part 3, depending on how long this goes for, because there was a lot, there's a lot to unpack in this podcast. So I do need to split it up. I've been talking for over half an hour. I'm sure you guys don't want to have to listen to like an hour-long podcast. So I will leave it there. But I'll catch you guys on the page at TWT 3.0.